And just, I know it was a minor thing, but
It's a very minor thing, and again, it's just something that, you got to let the medicine take care of it.
okay. And then when you look at the first couple days of practice, is there anything that really kind of stands out already with like Chase Young and how he's looked?
Oh, it's good to see Chase moving around the way he did. I mean, he's light years ahead of where he was last training camp. I think that's a big deal for us. But I think the thing that you can really point to really is just, remember last year we talked about how the defense was working on something different and how they were trying to get that
Right.
zone match down. It's different now. You see them, they're comfortable, they're confident in it. I know Jack and them looked at it, made a couple of adjustments to it, and those players have just adapted it so quickly. I mean, they are so far ahead of where they were last season.
How, in what area with that are they further ahead?
Well,
with
I think the communication aspect and understanding how to use the different tools that come with the defenses that Jack and the defensive coaches have worked on and put together. Because these little tools that give them opportunities to read and check certain things, and they seem to really have a good feel for that.
And then on one more on Chase Young, and again, 2 days, and no pads yet, and et cetera. But what are some of the little things that maybe you've seen from him that are, these are the encouraging signs?
Well, you see the get off first and foremost. Last year he was a little hesitant, a little tentative. Well, last year it took him a while before he got out there completely. So you see him moving around with a lot more confidence, and you see him finishing as well, and that's the other thing.
Sam talked yesterday and said he hears some of the people around the league that say, oh, this is a fifth rounder, he can't be starting, and he just blocks that out. How do you feel like he is vibing with the offense and kind of growing into this QB1 role?
And I think that's a big part of it, is really just developing the rapport that you need with your teammates around you, more than anything else, JP. I think as he gets more and more comfortable and they get more and more comfortable with him, that vibe really comes together. And that's probably the important thing. And, I think there's a certain aspect to it where you've got to get past draft status, okay? Because if that were the case, guys that were taken in, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th round, people shouldn't be talking about, apparently. I think it's all about what the player does, and the proof will be in the pudding.
It's obviously early on, but you've got a revamped O-line. How do you feel they're doing so far?
I think they're doing pretty well. The one thing is they got to get used to working with one another. There's a couple of guys that are really working together and starting to develop that. And some of our young guys some of our backup guys are going to get opportunities as well. They have to develop that communications and that rapport with one another to be confident in the things that they need to do.
First day with the fans here. Was it a lot of fun for you?
It was cool. It really was cool. It really was. I think one of the things that the players talked about was, when somebody made a play, you could hear the fans get excited about it. And guys come back to the huddle, they got grins on their face and stuff like that. So their energy is part of what helps us.
Coach, Brian Robinson has been making plays with his hands out there.
Yes.
Are you, obviously he can catch, but is that something you want to see more of in the offense for him?
Well, I think for all of our backs, you want to see these guys get opportunities to get the ball in space. Last year Brian showed everybody in space, he's a load. You watch what Antonio Gibson does when he's in space, and he's elusive. He's a little bit of a slasher in space because of he's got speed that people don't realize. I mean, this is a guy that ran a 4.3 coming out. So these guys with the ball in their hands, they're good athletes. Give them a little bit of space, give them a little bit of room to build up some momentum, and they become a load to tackle. So it's all part of what we're trying to accomplish offensively, and talking with Eric is get the ball out quickly, get them in positions to make plays quickly, and we'll go from there.
And then also Cole Turner and obviously Logan Thomas have given you a nice tight end group, but when you look at some of the younger guys, vying for opportunities there, Hodges and some of the other guys, John Bates, how impressed are you with the tight end room?
I'm very impressed with that room. I mean, last year, it's pretty much the same room. The guys were just younger, needed some experience. These guys got an opportunity to practice. Some of them got an opportunity to play a little bit more. Now seeing them on the field has been really exciting as far as those things are concerned. So just continuing to get guys opportunities is probably the biggest thing we need to do.
Coach, I know you mentioned yesterday that practice will get longer as the time goes on. So what are you all looking for now versus as when the practices start to get a little bit longer?
Well, now it's all about the conditioning. You know, that aspect of it will come on because as practices get extended, guys get a little more fatigued. And the thing about when guys get fatigued, now you see mistakes start to increase unless they're in shape, unless they're in condition. And you really can't ever simulate play time as through practice. But that'll be the first step in terms of getting guys in game shape.
And I know you mentioned also that the ownership group was meeting with the team yesterday. How did
Yes.
that go?
My understanding went very well. They met with a group of guys at lunch, and then they met the entire football organization as far as that was concerned. I thought it was good. I thought both Mr. Harris and Mr. Rails got up and, expressed for the most part what their standard is, what their expectations are, and their beliefs and philosophy. So I think that was really good for our guys to understand how the ownership feels, how that group, expects certain things, and that, I believe they're setting a very high standard for us.
Hey, Ron, I'm wondering where you've seen the biggest changes and impacts in practice with Eric Bieniemy from when you think he came into the offseason program to where you guys are now here in camp.
Well, I think one of the things that, when you watch Eric, he moves from one position group to another. He's not just primarily focused on wherever the quarterback is. So I think that's one of the things that he's done very well. Secondly is he's very expressive and very loud. He's got one of those piercing voices that, you just know. And so, he because of that, because he's very boisterous and demonstrative, he gets a lot of people's attention. And I think that's something that is getting our guys' attention as far as that's concerned.
Hey, Coach. De'Ami Brown had a couple of really good plays during training camp. Right over here. Oh. De'Ami Brown had a couple of really good plays earlier today. What have you seen from him so far, and what are your expectations for him in this offense?
Well, in this offense, and really anytime De'Ami gets on the field, you do expect certain things. And one of the things that he's was noted for coming out of North Carolina was he was known for the ability to catch the ball in traffic. He led the NCAA in contested catches. He was also one of the top guys in the deep balls thrown as well. So we're expecting and anticipating to get that from De'Ami. We got a little bit of it last year. I wish we had gotten more. Because he is an explosive guy with good speed.
Coach Rivera, can you speak on Samuel Cosby moving inside the guard? How does that transition work for him? How do you like what you've seen on him so far?
Well, I think it's going to work very well for him. I mean, here's a guy that had the ability to play both inside and outside as far as guard or tackle. I think because he is stout and his athletic ability will help us, and I think that'll be a plus. And for him also, we've got him just focusing on the one position. And I think so far it's gone very, very well.